Welcome to Check Your Thread, the podcast that will help you sew more sustainably.
My name's Zoe, and I'm obsessed with sewing.
I've been blogging about it for over 16 years, and I'm the creator and host of the popular handmade wardrobe challenge, Me Made May.
But, like many people, I've become increasingly concerned about the climate crisis.
And I'm looking at the way my lifestyle contributes to it.
So in this podcast, I'll be nerding out about making clothes whilst exploring how to minimize the negative impact that it may have.
Really hope you'll join me in this journey.
Hello. Did you like that alternative intro? So, are you ready to wrap up 2024 and to look back at years worth of sewing wins and fails, and even consider some hopes and plans for 2025? So I got together with two of your favourite previous podcast guests that you just heard, Lise Bauer and Meg Grandstaff, to have this unapologetically lengthy conversation. So if you've got a long journey ahead of you this festive season, or you need some company during a stint in the kitchen or something, let the three of us join you. Also, we answer the all-important question, what forms of potato are the three of us going to be enjoying over the winter? Stick around a few minutes and we'll crack on with all that. But first, I have a couple of exciting sustainability wins to share with you. So I'll do mine first. So, have you listened to last week's episode with Gina yet? Which was about the plans that we have for the Winter of Care and Repair Challenge. If you have, you will have heard me say that one of my intentions was to visit the repair cafe in my city, potentially volunteer at it, and then possibly set up another with my pal Sophie in our local area. Well, I'm excited to announce that I have begun this process. Last weekend, Sophie and I visited the Brighton Repair Cafe, which happens to be run by two of Soph's former colleagues. Anyway, they were super nice and welcoming and very open to telling us about how it all works. And I've told them that I'd like to volunteer there in the new year and have subsequently been admitted to their WhatsApp group. So that is really exciting to have already started on that path. Here's another sustainability win with a different flavour, submitted by a wonderful Check Your Thread patron called Yona. Yona says, I was sewing a boxed bag from a pattern to become my hand sewing kit. It includes instructions to make a pincushion at the very end. And I told my significant other how anticlimactic that felt. They responded, remember they're not a sewist, that's probably so you can use all the trimmings from making the bag to stuff the pincushion. Nope, that wasn't the designer's vision, but my partner is cleverer and I'm so proud. And then I stuffed the pincushion with thread and fabric trimmings. I love this so much. Thanks heaps for sharing that, Yona. This was a win on so many levels, and congrats to their partner for having such a smart read on the situation. And it's so nice to hear that their values are so well aligned. Epic! This week I want to say huge thanks to new patrons Agnieszka, Tara, Rachel, Anna and Anjana. Massive apologies if I messed up some of those pronunciations. I'm so grateful to all of you for signing up to help keep Check Your Thread afloat in 2025. I promise you I've got loads of exciting episodes already lined up for the new year, but there's no way I could spend the time required to make them if the amazing patrons weren't helping me cover my overheads. So thank you. So, as you might have guessed, this is the last episode of 2024. But I've left you with an enormous one to keep you going. We spoke about and referenced many things, and everything I could link to has been linked to in the show notes. Depending on what podcast app you're using to listen to this, those links should be accessible right there. But if not, head to checkyourthread.com where you can find them for episode 164. Also head there to see pics that I've included for a few of the projects that we talked about, including my total fail of a knitted vest and the fail to win project of baby mittens to chair socks that Meg made. So please take care of yourself and your loved ones over the next couple of weeks. I hope you get to welcome in the new year in whatever way feels awesome to you. I can't wait to get in your ears and hang out with you in 2025. So until then, enjoy. Here we go. Here I am, waiting on my own, waiting for the ladies. It's 1 o'clock UK time, which is, I think 2 o'clock for Lisa, and an unfeasibly early time for Meg, who apparently already up. Oh, hello!
Hey, Zoe.
Hi!
I'm hiding in my bedroom today. I'm just trying to get a bit more light in. I know we're not on on video, but so you can see me at least
I can
here.
see you. Are you comfy? You've got to be comfy. That's the most
Put you up
important thing.
somewhere. I am. I have a good chair. I'm sitting on a comfy chair. I just gotta see where I put you, so you're comfy.
I'm comfy. Thank you for worrying about me. I'm comfy. Oh, oh, oh! Yay! We did it! Woo!
Yay! Yay! Oh, am I late? Am I late? I'm sorry.
What, 1 minute? I mean, I dare say like 20 seconds or so.
All the gold we just missed. All the gold.
Hi.
Hello. Good
Hi.
morning, good afternoon, good everything. Okay, Meg, what time is it there?
It's 7:01. I genuinely thought this was starting at 6:01 because our clocks fell back last night, so I woke up at 5.
Oh, love. Oh, love.
So I was like, it's going to start at 6 because they don't observe daylight savings. And I was so confused. And then I was like, wait a second. Like,
Ours changed last weekend.
oh,
What about
okay.
you, Lisa?
Yeah, we changed at the same time as you, Zoe. But I mean, for me, it didn't matter as much as for Meg, but I also told my family, so I may actually have this call at 2, but I may actually have it at 1 or at 3 because I don't actually know. So I'm just going to be ready at all of those times.
All of the times, anytime.
I was brushing my teeth and I was like, wait, what time do I have to wake up? What time is this
Oh,
happening?
bless you. Are you really tired?
No, there's coffee.
Now that's going to be later. We're going to have energetic Meg now, and then later you crash.
Mhm. I get my afternoon nap.
Oh, bless you. Well, thank you so much.
Does your mug say I love New York?
Yes, it's my favourite mug. I can't drink coffee at home in any other mug.
You just your I love Chicago mug is in the dishwasher.
So it is November. Peek behind the curtain for everyone. It is November. However, this is going to be going out end of year. Okay, so what me maids are we wearing? Lisa.
I'm wearing fully me made from top to bottom. But I gotta say, I've been wearing it for like 3 days straight because my only outings have been like to the grocery store. So yeah, I'm glad we're not on a smell on my phone, you know. And if today goes well, I don't have to go out. But I love it, and it's like my uniform basically in this season. So I forget the pattern name. This is Fiber Moods half zip sweater. And a lot of companies have put out these half zip sweaters, and sometimes it's not a zip or something, like snap buttons. And I just love it. I feel like I'm kind of on trend by still like just being me in a sweatshirt, but it's kind of like you see them everywhere. Anyways, at the bottom, I'm wearing the Bay Pants by Belle Etoile. Now she's either Belgian or Dutch.
Belgium.
I can never remember.
Yeah,
I think so. And they're great. They're made out of a ponte, which is like a bit warmer, now that it's cooled down, but with a fully elasticated waist. So I'm comfortable, but still feel like I'm wearing pants.
Yeah. It's kind of like a put together leggings, isn't it?
Yeah. And I have pockets in like a fake fly. It's going to reach in here to show you. So it feels like I'm wearing pants, but I didn't have to put in the actual work of making a fully functional fly, and they're comfortable.
Love
so,
it.
Yeah.
Love.
Awesome.
Love. Peak comfort. I love it.
Yeah, Meg, what's going on with you?
I'm wearing a sweater that I knit.
It looks so good.
Which I love. I don't remember the pattern.
Such a good knitter.
But I love it. It's great. It's cozy, but it's also like, it's like boxy. And I like that, like in the morning, like a little more room to expand and breathe.
You don't know what's going to happen late in the day, so let's get that space in there now.
I mean, I'm actually going to wear jeans. I'm going to wear hard pants later. Not ginger jeans. Well, not ginger jeans. We can get into that, but it's not ginger jeans.
Okay, pin in that. Pin in that.
Jeans.
Okay, I love your jumper. It looks really nice.
Thanks. Okay, what's this cardigan you're wearing? It looks
So
fluffy.
this cardigan, okay, so on my knitting journey, I have discovered I like things that grow very fast, basically require needles at the size of your fingers or bigger.
I love
That's
that.
my gauge.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
want to be like done in a week of a panel, So it's actually a kit. I don't know in hindsight if I would have bought it having known more about knitting and yarn since. It's one of the, is it We Are Knitters? Whack? You know
They're
that
very
brand?
popular.
Yeah, I think they're based in Spain, or at least in Europe they're based in Spain. And it was a kit. I think they like constantly do that, like 25% off today only and next week and the following week. But yeah, it's very cozy. It's so big that I can only really wear it at home because I can't get it underneath a jacket or a coat, So
It sounds like you need to make a new jacket. That's what that sounds like.
with enormous. So no, it's nice, my nice cozy one. And this is a top that I made a million years ago, and I've let it out as much as I physically can. So now it's a kind of top that it looks fine at the top, but around my belly it's a bit too tight now. So I tend to wear it like underneath dungarees, or if I'm not going anywhere.
I hear you on that. I've also been like going through like body changes, I think also age related. And yeah, some things will grow with me and expand and others are just like done now. And that's fine too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wearing leggings that used to be maternity leggings. So they are over 8 years old and they're so dead. In fact, the knee's almost worn through. But I don't really want to spend my sewing time making a replacement. No. So we're just going to keep going.
No.
Okay, so let's talk about our year. So I realised this morning we are all challenge mums.
We are.
What's a better phrase for that?
I don't know. I guess challenge hosts, or hostess, but I always think the hostess sounds too feminine almost, So yeah, challenge organizer, but I don't know.
But also inventor as well. Like, those things need inventing. Lisa, tell me, so Last Sew is Standing, 2024, how's it going?
It is going, but I don't know, back to the inventor. To me, like my challenges, and there's multiple now somehow.
Yes, we're going to get to
they
that.
always it's almost like they just developed and happened accidentally. So it like came upon me and I just like went with it, because of a need I had or the community had. So yeah, the Last Sew Standing is by now in its 4th year. And I want to say it has matured and is almost running itself at this point. I feel like I've become a bit of a lazy hostess, but I don't do very much anymore. And sometimes I do a bit more like engagement in the stories or a check-in post to see who's still in. But I think most people are just like running along smoothly, doing their thing. They're checking in with me through DMs or stories or posts. And yeah, I think it's going very well. I'm very proud of this whole group. Just,
amazing.
Yeah, we're all doing the challenge. I'm not even like running it that much anymore.
Have you got any stats?
I did. I frantically put together some before we started the call. Okay. So like I said, this is the 4th year and we had a total participants of about 240 this year. This is down slightly from last year's 268 participants, but that was due to the Zoe effect. And, since Zoe wasn't participating this year, some people were just like, nah, it's not for me anymore. No, I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, I think we've reached a comfortable number.
But you could also say that maybe last year it was such a success for some people that they got their stashes to the point where they're happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very positive way of putting it. And I think it is true for some. And I think a bigger amount than the number reflects because we did have quite a few new participants this year, for sure. So we just had a check-in in mid-October. And I checked last year, we talked a little bit later, you and I, Zoe. That was beginning of November when I had the check-in last year that we compared it to. So it's kind of comparable. So last year at this point, roughly, we still had 30 people in, 31 to be exact. And this year it's 26 that are still in.
Kind of comparable then in terms of the percentage that started.
Yeah, slightly less people replied this year, though. So just percentage wise, it's comparable.
Don't you think, though, that Instagram algorithms have gone really weird this year? So who knows who's even seeing things?
So last year, I also tracked how many people replied at all to the last check in. And I tracked that this year too. And just percentage wise, actually, of all people replying, more people this year said that they are still in.
Oh,
But
cool.
you should, I mean, I'm not a statistician, but you would have to weigh that too. Someone who checks in is maybe more likely to still be in than someone who doesn't even feel the need to reply. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So yeah, speaking of polls and things like that.
How's your challenge going? How's your last so standing going?
Oh, it's splendid. But remember, so like last year it was the same. And then when we talked the beginning of December, I had like dropped out like over nothing, basically. So this time last year, I was also doing splendidly, and then I dropped out at the beginning of December. So yeah, let's see, and check in again when this episode airs at the end of the year.
Okay, yeah, I'll do a little update in the intro.
Yeah, well, no, for most of us at that point, but at this point, I'm doing really well. I'm not even thinking about buying fabric. I use what I have. It's like it's not even an option for me anymore, and
Amazing.
feels great.
Amazing. Meg,
Yeah.
are you doing lots of standing this year?
I am.
How's it going?
So I had a little hiccup when I went on vacation, and there was the Mary Mecco store because I was in Helsinki, and I was like, I am absolutely buying fabric here. So I bought one piece of fabric, and then I was like, okay, and now that's my souvenir from this trip, and now I can continue not buying anything. So I haven't bought anything since. So
Brilliant.
I'm in.
So when was that?
That's amazing.
That's May. That was May.
That was May. Well done. And what is going on with your stash?
It looks really good. It's really pretty.
In terms of organization or contents or both?
Oh, it's just kind of sitting there waiting for me to have time to like do anything with it. But I did make a pair of pants out of that linen.
Yeah,
Nice.
the pink.
The pink.
Was it
the hot pink linen?
Was it the Swaro pants? Or was it the?
It was the saguaro pants, and I love them. They're my favorite things. And I just ironed some green linen to make another pair in this like emerald green. I was like, I realize
stunning.
It's not the temperature outside today for them, but they will be so useful next.
But how happy is future Meg going to be?
So happy.
When she opens up her wardrobe and the temperature's warmed up again, and there they are.
She's going to be like, bless you, Path Megan. Way to come through. I think otherwise, like, I don't think I'm going to do Last So Standing next year because I'm already plotting all the fabric I'm going to buy.
Okay, we're going to get to next year's plans, but yeah.
So, but this year's been good because I'll be like, no, I don't need that. Like making those pants, I didn't need to buy anything. Like I'm working on like a Donny blouse that's been cut out behind me, and some like Ogden camis.
So you're making all the summer wear.
All the summer wear, and it's like officially fall out there. So, oh wow.
You can layer some of that. The Ogden cami especially, would just be a bottom layer for now.
It's true. And they're like out of these silks, and I'm like, silk is great all year round. So it's perfect. Let's do it.
Definitely.
Awesome.
No, but I love that. I told Zoe last year when someone leaves the challenge and doesn't continue, if it's because it was just not for them, that's also fine. But if it's because they feel like they did it, they went through the learning process and developing the new habits, which I think you definitely have. I mean, if you made that one exception in May and you've been running in the independent category ever since, you've really proven to yourself that you can do it.
Yeah, you've made a shift.
Yeah, after that long, it's hard to just go back and buy fabric willy-nilly. You've changed your habits and you're going to go forth, with these better, more sustainable habits for yourself, for your wallet, for the planet, but also for your plans. At this point, I start understanding people who are just like, too much fabric. It gets me bogged down. And then you just buy what you need for what you're planning to actually do. I love it.
It's true.
So how did so I'm pointing down because you're down on my screen. How did your challenge go this year, Meg? The one that you host.
I mean, I thought it went really well. Lots of folks participated.
So we're talking about Scrap Busting
Yes,
September.
Scrap Busting September. I think it had a bigger reach this year. But it was really hard, again, to track because of the Instagram algorithm, to be like, because people would occasionally tag me in things, or tag me in the stories, but the stories would disappear after 24 hours. So like if I wasn't on Instagram in the 24 hours, I wasn't seeing those. But a lot of people were participating. The So Over 50 account was wonderful. Like they were tagging me in everything. Like bless them.
They are amazing. They're such a force of awesomeness.
So good.
Yeah, they're awesome.
No, but I saw some really beautiful stuff this year. I got to make a lot of cool stuff also.
What did you make?
What did I make? I actually, like, some of the things I didn't post about. But like altered some clothes with scraps of the same, had saved the scraps from the piece.
You were going crazy for making baby wear, weren't you?
God.
You made so many amazing baby wear items.
All of a sudden I had 4 coworker to real life friends, like they were all going out on maternity leave, and I was like,
that's pretty savage for your coworkers.
It's a very special category of being like, yeah, you started as a coworker and now you're a friend.
Sorry, I see. I thought you were talking about like the array, including coworkers and real life.
No. It's the people you meet at work, and then you're like, we are vibing. We are vibing forever. I'm keeping you. You're my person. 4 of them are having babies, and I was like, oh God, so many babies. And so yeah, just sewing, and a lot of stuff like didn't work. Baby mittens are really hard for me.
Lessons were learned.
Oh, I remember those. They were adorable.
Didn't you make them into like use them on your chairs so that they wouldn't scrape across the floor? Yeah. So clever.
The chair socks are doing great, but that's not what I was making them for. So it was just it was a lot of fun.
And all those amazing little cardigans and hats that you knitted as well. My goodness.
I just had so much leftover yarn that was just like bits and pieces. And I was like, no, get it out of here. But I didn't anticipate September, for me, scrap posting September, being so baby focused. I also didn't anticipate it being so busy at work. So between the two things, I didn't get to make everything I wanted to make. I did get to make seat cushions, which I love how they turned out, because that's from my parents' old curtains and an old pair of jeans and like stuffed with fabric scraps, which is great. But there's so many things I didn't get to. And when I think about this scrap busting September, for me, it was really disappointing because there was so many things that I had cut out or I had planned for, and it just wasn't happening.
But scrap busting isn't just for September.
Yes.
And I feel like the cold season has just started. Like that's more the indoor season. And now you have, all these plans.
It's true.
And things that you were going to make that you can get back to once you, have time for it again. I think it's something a lot of sewists can relate to, that we just have more plans than, we know what to do with. And if something comes up, like all the baby projects, you don't plan for it. And suddenly it takes up weeks or a month that you didn't account for. And it kind of sucks, but it's also kind of great.
Yeah, but it goes to show how scrap busting can kind of, that you can then pivot and use it in different ways when your different seasons arise, like the many baby seasons.
I know. It was just wild that they all like were coming at once, and I was like, I don't like, but I started making like these little baby pants, and I was like, these are
But you know what's going to happen next September? You're going to be having to make lots of first birthday items. You're never done with this.
Oh, I don't make those.
That's a no.
But you know what I do? Because when I make things for babies, I calculate, okay, you're being born in September. Here is a cardigan that should fit you for your first winter, or a pullover for your first winter. So if somebody's born in January, I'm making you a 12-month to 18-month something for next year. So like you're already set to go.
That's smart.
Lisa, did you make any scrappy stuff in September this year?
So I think for both of your challenges, both Me Made May and Scrap Busting September, I'm more like a virtual, participant in spirit. And then I do it myself when I get to it. I do it, just not necessarily during that month,
So you're absorbing the vibes, you're getting the inspo.
Exactly.
You're mulling it over, absorbing.
Yeah, and I mean, technically, you could say if I don't post anything about it, I'm probably not participating. But I feel like I am because I am thinking about it. I'm following the posts. And then it does follow me through the year, whether it's Me Made May or Stash Busting September. I'll be like doing something, like, oh, I need to wear my clothes more. I mean, make clothes, or how can I combine them with the things I already own? Like all these thoughts. And it's not like I'm doing Me Made May in July or whatever. I like think back to the inspiration I got there. And, so it is more connected to it for me. And the same with the scrap busting. Like you could say like, whatever, you can just do scrap busting. But I think back to the challenge, to what people did there, what I've seen. So I feel like I am participating in scrap busting September, even if I do it in November or whenever.
That's kind of the goal, isn't it? To be influencing the sewing community in these positive ways, isn't it? It's not just like, oh, let's try and use a few scraps, or let's all see what different combinations of our clothes we can wear for 1 month. Like the whole point, isn't it, is to make influence, to get people to be thinking in a more sustainable way, a more productive way, and then you've proved that that's happening, so that's really good.
And hopefully like make lasting changes. I think that's what all of our challenges and others that are out there have sort of in common. Some are more like, I don't know, let's do something with one specific project. And it's more, maybe not like learning for the future necessarily, but ours are sort of habit changing and make you think about how you're doing things already and how you want to change things, what you can learn to do that, and to connect sort of with a wider community. Like the social aspect, I think is also there. Like you share for scrap busting September or Me Made May or Last Sew Standing, not just to show what you're doing, but also to connect to others in the community. And so, yeah, I really like that aspect.
Yay. I freaking loved scrap busting September this year. I really loved it, and I went
cute things. Like,
thank you.
10 out of 10. No notes. You did great.
I wanted to focus on knit scraps specifically because I felt I was getting a bit overwhelmed, and I wanted to challenge myself to find useful, fun projects for them. So I made those little socks, so kind of trainer socks, and it was actually something that I really needed as well. I made my son some kind of scrappy underwear. That was really fun. I made my daughter like a kind of, I don't know if you saw it, was like her Goblin Core cardigan.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
She's worn it loads. She's worn it loads. I'm really happy. I made my friend's son a little scrappy sweatshirt. That was really cute. And so I really got through a lot of those scraps and had loads of fun. I was not ready to be finished in October. So I then made my son another scrappy sweatshirt with this extra thick sweatshirt fabric that I've made so many things from. I got all these remnants and leftovers from work last year. So they had basically Fabric Godmother got in all these extra thick sweatshirts, saying really nice. And there were lots of sections. When you get rolls and bolts of fabric, you get lots of sections where sometimes there's been some writing on it. Mm-hmm. Or there's like a section cut out, normally I guess for testing, because I have to test the rolls. So when they're cutting the strips, you end up with these like sections that you can't sell, obviously, because there's some writing on or a hole. So they'll cut either side. But the bits either side, if you get what I mean, of the hole or the writing are fine. So I got loads of them, of these like quite good sized sections, God. Yeah.
Like how wide, long and wide would they be approximately?
So I think if the width of the fabric is 150 centimetres and maybe the middle bit you can't use. So I guess we're looking at, I don't know, like 80 centimetres maybe. Or sometimes there'd be like a roll would have a weird join where they'd joined the fabric and so it had this weird kind of like Frankenstein stitching through the centre. But then there was still these big panels that if you were kind of clever with how you were cutting, you got quite a lot of fabric out of it. Yeah, so I had that in lots of different colours and I've made so many things out of it. I've still got enough for, I think, at least one more scrappy garment. So I'm thinking of making myself a cardigan with that. Yeah, so that was been really fun. So I used
like
some
the
more
grand
of that.
finale.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, I loved it. I had a lot of fun. So thank you, Meg. Me Made May, that happened.
Yay!
That is very much something that pretty much runs itself at this point. So I did my normal thing where I put up the posts, trying to explain to people like how it could be beneficial, what it is, what it isn't. At this point, I don't know how much energy I've got for kind of trying to champion the real benefits that can be had. I think people are going to just do what they
Right.
want. And if people want to use it as a photo challenge at this point, I'm thinking like, I know. Fine.
Yeah.
And people are going to get out of it, something out of it, never mind how they do it, whether they do it sort of in the intended way, to, put a bit more thought into it, or whether it's just like more photo op. I feel like they will benefit from it.
Yeah.
And it's fun for everyone in the end.
I hope people don't feel stressed about it. I hope people don't feel like, oh, I have to participate because it's Me Made
Right.
May. And I kind of wish that Me Made May had been around when I was first starting garment sewing. I think I would have got a lot. I do get a lot from it, but I think I would have got so much from it. Really challenging myself in those early days to maybe even when I just had like a blouse and 2 skirts or something to see how I could make different combinations, really learn from those garments, There we are. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I hope you're going to keep running it for a long time, even if you don't have to do that much.
It's been a long time. It's been 15 years, Lisa.
Well, I've only been doing it for the last few, so for my benefit. I post something in my stories every now and then. But yeah, even if you don't like do much from the, running organization part, I do think a lot of people still get a lot out of it. And yeah, I love that it's still out there. And, I'm working up to it. So yeah, don't stop yet.
Okay. I got a bit of a negative comment this year. And I can't, it's one of those things, isn't it? When you get like 100 lovely comments and then there's one negative one, and that's the one that you kind of hone in on.
Who was mean to you? You tell me right now.
I don't know. It wasn't commenting on my post. It was commenting on somebody else's post, talking about Me Made May. And they were kind of saying like, I don't know, something about basically me being a bit preachy and trying to turn it into something more worthy than it is or something. I don't know. And I was thinking like, am I? I was like, I don't think I'm doing that. But I mean, yeah, there's always going to be haters, isn't there?
Yeah. If it's not your thing, don't participate.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Not everything is for you. Like,
yeah, that is fine.
Not everything is for you.
It's not for Lisa.
No, I think take it as a compliment because like not everybody has haters, you need to achieve a level of stardom to have
celebrity status. Let's go.
I think people forget that there's people behind things, don't they? Like real people with actual feelings.
I feel like that's just like proves that you're running a really popular challenge and people have twisted and mangled it somewhat also and made it their own. And it's not exactly what you intended it to be. And yeah, there's going to be some haters. I think there's very few. Yeah, I don't know. You're just a rock star, Zoe.
Aww.
And that's just what comes with it,
You're so sweet. So how did our sewing go in 2024? Like what went well? What were our favourite makes? What's been a real success? What was a disaster we never want to make again? Like Lisa, let's talk about what our favourite makes from this year were. What have you made that? I mean, did you make your top?
I did make this one this year. Yeah, the pants I made last year, but I made this one this year, and it's my second one. It's a repeat pattern. I made a similar one the year before, but a couple of sizes smaller, and it fits. But I wanted it bigger, more oversized. So this is the improved version. Awesome. And I think that, it says a lot about my sewing. I like to sew sort of comfortable, basic, things.
You also like to hone things, don't you? You like to do multiples. You like to improve.
Exactly. I'll make like 3, 4, 5 versions and I can't stop because I'm just like, I can make it a little better. And I already like it, but I could like it even more. So yeah, I like that. And I like getting sort of into a project and I know what I'm doing then, with the zipper installation on this one. You don't have to think about it after the third one. So yeah, I've been sewing a lot of basics. I have stretched my, sewing boundaries a little bit by making my first proper shirt. I've made sort of a shacket before, but it didn't have a proper collar and all that. So I made the Archer shirt, I think it's called, by Grainline Studio, I think. I'm getting nodding from the others. So yeah, and that one was for me a technical make. I know it's not a coat or something, but for me that was like a lot of steps that I wanted nice, and I think I did a good job. So that was like my biggest sewing win, I think, for this year.
Yay!
Yay.
Well done.
Thank you.
What about you, Meg? What have you made that was a real success this year?
I mean, those linen pants. I'm obsessed with those forever. They're so great. I wore them to Las Vegas, and it was like, it's hot. It's like a desert. And I'm wearing these linen pants, and I was like, oh, I feel amazing. Like, oh my God. Those are probably, when you sew something and it just makes you feel good. Like, you're like, I don't have to fix this in any way. I just feel good in this.
Amazing.
Like, because you're
It's such
sewing
a good
mojo.
feeling.
After a while, it takes hits. Like, there's a couple things I made and they just didn't turn out. And I was like, well, I just spent all this time and I don't have a lot of time. And I just sewed these things that suck, frankly. And so making that and being like, oh my God, this is what I needed was a win. I needed a sewing win.
Love it.
I love it. But I also made some Donny blouses. And I love the Donny blouse because you just pop it on. It's got a collar and you're like, I love this.
They're so
I
cute.
love them. I love sewing them out of bed sheets, and the one I'm making is out of a tablecloth. And I was like, I really could make this out of other fabric, like, like. But I just keep using like these secondhand textiles that keep coming my way, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is great.
I bet they're amazing for it because they already have like better drape because they're like
Yes.
soft and worn in.
Yeah, they've been washed
I wonder
1,000
if you
times.
could do it with like a real, like a new fabric, or it would
real?
be just like, no, this is too stiff. I need that
Yeah.
vintage vibe,
Right?
softness.
I'm telling you, these cotton percale sheets are like chef's kiss.
So it sounds like you have been sewing a little bit. You've been so busy, but you have something on the go all the time.
I try and like every once in a while,
Nice.
like run by and pin something, like run it through the machine and be like, okay, yeah.
Is that how you're doing it now? You're doing it in little installments rather than I've got an afternoon.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to, my company is closed between Christmas and New Year's. You guys, I am living for that week. I am living for it because
Have you got more plans you could ever possibly achieve in the
ever
week?
possibly achieve.
All the scrap busting
All the
plans.
scrap busting plans. I'm gonna finish that pink robe. I'm gonna make some jeans. Like, I'm ready.
Awesome. So the trousers were the big success of the year.
Yeah. Because I'm going through a lot of body changes. So like, just to be able to put something on that
We're all nodding.
doesn't make me feel self-conscious about all the things that are happening in my body, because perimenopause is like a real thing. Yeah. Like, not feeling bad about my body and being like, no, I actually want to go out and I want to wear these pants and I want to feel fabulous. Did I really need something like this in my wardrobe? I really, really did.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy.
That sounds amazing. I'm going through like similar body changes, but also style changes.
Mhm.
I don't want to wear some of the tight pants I was still comfortable in 3, 4 years ago. And just because, yeah, I feel like the style outside, in stores, on the streets have changed, but also my, personal sense of what I'm comfortable in. I don't know if it was the whole like COVID and us all sitting at home, etc., that also brought it on. So I've also been like, when I'm sewing, I'm like, I actually really need some clothes and I really need pants, as well. And so I'm not just sewing what I want to sew, but like really to fill some holes in my wardrobe. But I want them to be long lasting if I'm going to invest the time sewing. I don't want it to be something which feels too tight or too oversized if I should, move in either direction, with my body changes. And so, yeah, I've been taking that into account a lot. I find it rather freeing because it like eliminates a lot of patterns. Like, that's no good. That's no good. It needs to have, these attributes. And yeah, it sort of reduces your choice, but it also forces you to be more creative. So yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I think there's some really, really interesting sewing patterns out there at the moment. For a long while, I wasn't that excited by a lot of the stuff that was coming out. And it's like, it's okay, I've still got loads. There's loads of things that have been around for a while that I'm interested in or things I've already got. But yeah, just recently, I kind of feel like There's some interesting things come through. I don't know I'm necessarily going to make them, but I like that. Yeah, I feel like there's a freshness in the releases at the moment that are coming through, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot also. Like there are the sort of more established indie pattern companies, but over the last year since COVID, I suppose as well, like a lot of new businesses have popped up. I know it was a difficult time for a lot of small businesses, but it was also like a time of change. And I feel like there's way more out there than ever before.
For
For
sure.
me, the challenge is a bit now vetting what I'm going to sew. I've had some disappointments as well where I'm like, ooh, I really like this. And then after I'm maybe not quite satisfied with the drafting or something. So I think it also makes it a little bit, again, difficult to wade through the sea of what's available. But I think it's really exciting. And for me, I think it's a good thing that it's easier to get into that business and there's more availability.
Yeah,
But
because there's not, in terms of outlay, if you're doing PDF only, there's not, you can, if you're a trained pattern maker, you can start, like you have to learn various skills like Illustrator or whatever. You don't necessarily need premises, you can do it from home. You just don't necessarily need stock, so I think that it's exciting. I like the idea that there are people out there kind of making, I don't know if they're making much money, but they are using their abilities and their creativity in this DIY kind of low-key kind of way. And it kind of makes me sad that a lot of people, they're not making hardly any money doing it because it's so much work. It's exciting that they're getting to flex their creativity, I guess.
yeah, I definitely think it's easier than ever before if you want to sort of get into, any kind of like creative business or otherwise to just like go and do it. I think it's really exciting. Also all the, social stuff that's happening with all the, I don't know, Zoe, you're doing the whole like check your thread, social Zoom meetups as well. I'm doing some of, sort of that social stuff. It's so much easier than ever before to just
Absolutely
do your own thing and I don't know, find your own crowd or, things like that.
Like that virtual sewing room that's started up. Like that's a really interesting endeavor. And that's something that you just need a Zoom account, really. I know that there's a lot more involved. I'm sure it's really kind of complicated and time consuming to organize, but the technology is there, isn't it? It's like Canva. Like Canva is an amazing resource that helps so many creative people do really basic things, and even like the free version is fantastic. Like I couldn't design all my artworks and stuff without it. It's so good.
Now we're all graphic designers. I love it. I do all my best graphic design work on my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right then and there with, Instagram GIFs, etc.
Exactly. Literally on my phone. Yeah, like kind of also pegging the laundry out at the same time.
But I also liked your, at the time of us recording this, the last episode, Check Your Thread episode, was all about small business and sustainability as well, and that whole angle. But it really made me think this week. And, I just like how the episodes and the challenges, it makes you think afterwards as well. And it really made me think about just like, yeah, it's so much easier nowadays, but also there's a lot of risk in starting your own thing, whether it's a business or a challenge or whatever it is. You're putting yourself out there, you're doing something, and it can be amazing. It can be like, very risky as well. It can go horribly wrong and you regret it all. But like, I think it's all really exciting.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So let's talk about disasters. Like what went wrong? What went wrong in 2024? Sewing wise.
You can go first, Meg.
Meg's off screen. She's like, I'm not here.
I think, well, let's talk about the ginger jeans. Let's just get it over with.
Right. So last time we spoke, you had cut them out.
Yeah. And my size changed.
Oh, okay. There's a lesson here.
So
I'm like breathing heavy already. Like that's basically a sewist's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You invest all that time and then
jeans as well.
You're just
yes.
like, okay.
How far did you get until you realized?
No, I didn't get far at all. Like at all.
Okay.
But I was like, wait a second. Things have changed. Like, and not only because perimenopause and like my waist's expanding, but like also I've been weightlifting. And so my calves and my thighs are like rocks, which is great. But that means skinny jeans, there needs to be some more consideration made. There needs to be
Are we all just done with skinny jeans? Are we just done?
God,
I think
love
so.
them.
No, Meg's not done.
Send them to Meg.
Send them to me. I'm not done, but I am leaning more towards like a stovepipe. Like I'm
Okay.
never going back to bootcut jeans. You can't make me, and I'm not gonna. Like,
You can send those to me.
yeah, right. Like we'll switch. 'Cause
I have to say, skinny with boots in winter is great.
fire. It's fire. Like
Yeah, it is.
that's what I want.
Boots over or boots like ankle
Over.
boots?
Over.
Boots over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Under my boot cuts.
I'm a millennial. I don't care. I don't need to look like younger. I know who I am.
I identify as Gen X.
Ooh, Zoe's
What about you,
spicy.
Lisa?
I'm in the last, I'm like the tail end of Gen X. When you look at most classifications, I'm birth year 1980.
Oh, I'm 79. So yeah,
we're at the tail end. Yes, little
born
Meg.
in the 70s.
Little Meg, beautifully. Beautiful. I'm just
Little baby Meg.
I'm 40. Like how 40?
I'm 45. It was
So
my
cute.
birthday on Monday. I'm 5 years away from joining the Sober 50 account.
Oh my god.
Nice.
One, happy birthday. Like didn't realize it.
Yeah,
Should we
happy
sing to
birthday.
you? Is that awkward?
No.
In multiple languages.
Oh, that'd be cute, but let's not pause on that.
No, but for the pants, I think, all of us sort of went from when we were younger, we saw other styles that were not yet skinny jeans with maybe lower waists.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pants got skinnier, and only the last few years, really, the waist got really sort of higher.
Yeah.
I feel like now there's everything out there. And for a while, skinny jeans were like out. Not that I really care. But now it seems like everything is in and fine. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
You know, like there seems a variety in stores as well, if, you want to buy pants. So
It's true.
I love that.
I do too.
Absolutely.
I do too. Yeah.
I think there will always be a place for skinny jeans because it just balances out a silhouette really well, doesn't it? If you're wearing something that's boxier or more oversized on top, it does proportionize your
I've gotten some amazing
silhouette
like
a bit.
secondhand long blazers, and they look really great with skinny jeans. And I'm like, well, I'm not giving that up. But yeah, I got really depressed about this size changing. So I went and bought the pattern in a bigger size, but I also bought the class of how to make jeans. So I was like, okay, now I'm super invested. It's going to walk me through step by step. I'm going to break down like the videos. And my goal was to like do this on Monday nights. I was like, Monday nights is going to be like my craft night, whatever. That went out the window, like with the election
instantly.
and with my 12-hour work days. I'm like, okay, so that's going to be December. But I've got the class, I've got the new pattern, it's printed out, denim's ready to be cut.
I mean, honestly, this doesn't sound as bad as I expected it. I was really hoping for more drama because it seems like you weren't that far into the process yet.
Yeah.
But it was
if
just
you'd made them and done the fly,
yeah,
and
more
done the
internal.
pockets.
No, it's I did that with I did make lander shorts out of this beautiful blue wool. And then I was like, I'm just going to do these over the summer. I was like, I'm just going to get these out so I can wear them. Yeah, no, my size changed. Like drastically enough that I found more of the fabric and I'm going to have to put like insets.
Racing stripes.
Okay.
Yeah, racing stripes on the side.
Yeah.
But out of the same fabric. So like whatever. But also having to do that with some Jenny overalls. I need to put in a bigger gusset on the back.
Okay, but that's really smart.
Yeah.
You're not just like, I'm angry at this garment, I'm throwing it away. No. It's the garment's fault that my life is like this way. You know,
like,
it's like you're taking it and yeah. And I really do think it's so easy to say, like, we just dress for our bodies. Like, we can do anything we want. Yep. It still affects us when, we drafted this pant or whatever last year and it was fine and now it's not or whatever. It does affect us. But I think the way you're doing it, like, okay, what can I do with it? I'm going to add stripes here. I'm going to add this there. I'm sure occasionally there's something which is like,
yeah, forget
goner.
It.
But yeah, turn it around, make something new out of it, and just like, we'll get over it better that way too if we move forward, right?
Right. Like that's just how I'm feeling right now. It's like, okay, that's just how things are going.
Yeah.
So I guess the takeaway is don't cut something out unless you're going to make it within a month or two.
That's kind of where I'm at.
guess.
It's like, if I'm not going to be sewing this immediately, I need to not cut it out.
And honestly, that's always a good lesson.
Yeah.
Like, not just with changing bodies. I've cut things out for my kids. They grow or change, they don't like princesses anymore. Or I've cut things out for gifts, and then, the occasion has passed and I didn't finish it and I never finish it. So it's always a good plan.
True.
Yeah. I cut this out like 5 years ago. This beautiful dress. Let me tell you, it's never gonna fit. Sewing this now, like it's never happening.
And then you're like, yeah, then you've got it. And you're like, well, what do I do with this? Like these pieces.
Racing stripes everywhere.
I got rid of most of the other fabric. I put it in scrapping projects. It's gone into the universe. So
there's lessons.
I could sew it as a practice garment to test out.
But who wants to do that?
I know. With the limited time, do I actually want to go through all these steps?
Yeah.
What are your sewing fails?
I have none. No.
I don't have fails.
No, but back to your last fail. No, to the dress, at least if it's a big piece of fabric, like for a dress, I feel like it's almost less of a fail because you can make something else out of it.
Oh, truly.
Whereas when it's shorts, it's either it's racing stripe or nothing. You're not going to make something else out of it.
No.
So I don't know. I think my takeaway from your fails, Meg, would be take your fail, but see what you can do with it. I think it's an inspiring story, an uplifting story in a way.
Lisa's going to think about it for years and one day do something about it.
Exactly.
Inspiration.
Exactly. So when I look at my sewing year, and especially if I think also you'll be airing this at the end of the year, so really my whole sewing year, I think if anything, my fail was that I didn't sew enough, and I really don't feel good about that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not one of those sewists that, busts out tons of projects each month, it just doesn't happen like that. And I was always okay with sewing slowly and not making a lot, but now I feel like my abilities are there to do more. I need things, I want to sew more, but I just sort of didn't make enough time for it. Right. And I don't think it's in Meg's case. She has very valid reasons for being very busy. But for me, it's really more a question of getting organized and making more out of the time that I actually have. So I don't know if that classifies. It seems like a cop out, but I feel like that was my main fail this year. Not pushing myself a little more to do a bit more, And I think it's great. We don't stress ourselves out. This is a hobby that we're doing here. Honestly, I think a lot of people could slow down a bit and stop stressing out about it. But then sometimes it's also good to push yourself a little bit. And I feel like I could have done a bit more. So thinking ahead for the next year as well, I think that's where I'm going to go, a bit more, organized and just do a bit more. If I'm thinking about actual sewing fails, I had a sweater I made. It was way too big, even though I measured and everything. And I couldn't size down because my arm size would have to be higher, but I had already cut that fabric away. So even though I wanted it smaller, I couldn't cut it out of the one I already cut. And I couldn't save it. I couldn't save the collar, the zipper, or anything, and I discarded that. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's a sustainability fail. And maybe I could have done more to unpick some and save some, but I had so much of that zipper and fabric right there next to me that I was just it's going to take me hours, and I have more right here. So I don't know, Zoe. I think you would definitely say big fail here.
Well, yes and no. I think you've got to be kind to yourself, and you think about motivation. If that's going to completely stop your enjoyment of it, and that's going to then turn it from a fun, exciting project into just this big chore, then no. If you could, I'm thinking what would I have done? I guess I would have tried to cut away as much as I could of the main bit of fabric and then maybe used it in some sort of pieced project, or think about maybe how I could cut a piece out, make something kind of for my kids possibly. But yeah, I don't think I would have sat there unpicking a zip if I had it all there and I knew that my motivation was just going to completely be drained if I made myself do that, you know?
Okay, well, thank you, because I definitely thought this would go the other way, especially with the zipper. I feel like the fabric, that's also something that will maybe biodegrade, and a zipper like plastic, coils that just will not.
We can't win everything.
But yeah, for me, it was definitely like thinking about the time I would invest, unpicking all of that. And I just wanted to get on with the project. I was doing it as part of a sew along and just also, yeah. And that's maybe also part of sort of the overconsumption that led to my stash, that I have so much of everything. So if I had less of that zipper, that fit the color perfectly, I would have probably unpicked it to use again.
Right.
So yeah, maybe also a lesson for the future. If you want to be more sustainable, maybe don't have like unlimited supplies at your fingertips. It's going to make you a little lazy. But yeah, I wasn't, all lazy. I just went right in. I cut out the same sweater 2 sizes down. And now I'm satisfied with the end result. So I wouldn't call it a sewing fail. It was like a setback, but I moved on. So I would chalk it up same category like the ginger. Like you didn't get that far in. It was like not fine. You're going to make it better,
Yeah. I'm sure you can harvest the denim and put it in some other project going forward.
Yeah. I did make.
Patches.
And you're not going to get the time back.
I forgot. Zoe, you remember you and I had chatted about this moss jacket that I put the embroidered panel on the back?
Yes.
I did make it.
Yay!
It was hideous. It was the ugliest thing I've ever made, ever. And I've made some ugly stuff, but this was unreal bad.
Oh, what was wrong?
Was it just too much?
What is the brand? What is a moss jacket?
So it's like a loose fitting crop.
What brand is the pattern?
I think it's like Helen's Closet.
It's a really cool pattern.
It's a cool pattern. It's a cool pattern. If you can make it work for you, cool. But like the flowy like woven and the denim back, and just I must have oversized because the denim was going off my shoulders like this. So I tried to put like darts and tucks in to like make it. Holy God, it was so ugly. And I was like, I'm going to recut this whole thing and make it into a project bag because I really like the fabric. But yeah, now that I think about it, that was probably my biggest fail because it was taking a lot longer, like with the embroidering of the back panel and everything.
Can you use the embroidery again, though?
I figured out a way to make it into a pocket, but I was like, oh my God. Like I tried it on and I turned to Dan and he was like, what? What are you wearing? And I was like, oh, I know it's bad.
It's still not a fail, though. Sorry to be Pollyanna all the time, but if you're
Pollyanna, what's up with this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like some like fabrics are just not meant for certain things, and it revealed its true self to you.
It's true.
It just had to be this hideous jacket first before you could see that.
Yeah, I was just like, well,
it's a journey,
I was like, okay.
Oh God, no, but sometimes it's good though, isn't it? Because then you're like, oh, I really enjoyed that laugh I just had.
Truly, like I've seen so many cute versions on people, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to make this. It's gonna look great on me. And then I was like,
it's gonna be amazing.
It's horrifying.
Did you already plan outfits that you were gonna wear and where you're gonna wear it and what combination?
I had whole outfits planned around this jacket.
I mean, I even had outfits planned for you for this jacket. So yeah, I'm definitely also a little disappointed. But the vision was lovely. The vision was amazing.
Can I show you the fail?
Yeah, do it.
My biggest is a knitting fail. Hang on.
I love that you brought it to show, like for proof.
I just realised it was behind me. Mick, do you remember we were talking before and I was knitting a stripy vest?
Yeah, you were knitting the stripy vest.
Okay.
Oh
no. Okay. So let me explain. I think the look of it, although it is wild to say the least, I don't hate. What I hate is the fit. So there she is.
Okay, I really love the colors.
It's kind of scrappy, but the fit is vile. It's so bad. It's like
I've never heard someone describe a fit as vile. I can't wait to hear this.
It's somehow making everything I hear about my body 10 times worse.
No.
It's narrowed the shoulders so weirdly, and then it's kind of made this kind of bulbous literally like a bulb shape right round where you really don't want it to be a bulb shape, kind of around your belly hips. And
Oh.
it took me so bloody long, like stitching all the pieces together and then picking up. And then this was new to me. This was a new technique because remember, I'm very new at knitting. You know, like picking up stitches this way and then doing bands. That's completely new to me. So, I mean, if I was Pollyannaing it, I would say, well, at least it gave me an opportunity to learn, but I would like to have had the opportunity to learn and then be able to wear the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. We're moving on for that. I'm actually making what I hope to be an amazing cardigan, which is from the same type of yarn, that kind of like mohair. And it does a really cool thing where you're always using 2 strands, but you add random different colors, so it's creating a really cool effect. So that's going to be good, hopefully. And so I can unravel it and then put it into that. So I can use.
Oh, you're gonna not pass this down to a kid or something?
No
like
one
you're
deserves
done
that
with
in their
it.
life.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not going to incinerate it, but I'm going to do this the alternative. My other fail, which is kind of almost a win as well. Did you see more recent post of some I Am Pattern Sunshine jeans?
Yeah.
I think I did, yeah.
So they're like a pale denim, oversized kind of. They were both a win and a fail. So I made a toile because I was like, I'm going to be such a good girl. I've only got enough fabric for 1 pair. I'm going to be a good girl. I'm going to buy some calico from work and I'm going to make a toile. And I did all that and still they ended up so many things wrong with them. The changes I made a bunch of changes. I made a sway back change. I made a full tummy adjustment. I scooped the crotch and I reshaped the side seam a bit because they were too balloony right from the hip rather than more towards the leg, which I wanted. Like I wanted them to kind of, skim the hips and then be balloony at the leg rather than poo from the hips. So I did all that thinking, I'm nailing this. I'm amazing. And then made them in denim, and inexplicably they're like at least 1, maybe 2 sizes too big. Don't know how that happened. And then there's all these other aspects that I didn't toile. Like I didn't toile the pockets and I didn't toile the fly front. And then all those proportions, not all of them, but a lot of those proportions look really weird. Like the pocket mouths are tiny and you can just barely put your hand in them. And the bum pockets are tiny. It looks so weird. And then the fly, like with all the top stitching and everything, is way too short. Like there's just an expanse of jean then underneath the fly front before you get to the crotch curve. Obviously, I didn't toile those things, so I wouldn't have known. But I feel like they maybe sampled up a small size, a very small size, and then just graded and didn't maybe sample the larger size. And when I say larger size, this is another thing that I've got with this pattern. Like, I know that they have a more extended sizing in the PDF version, but I bought the paper version. I made the second from largest size, and my hips are a 40-inch hips. Like, I'm not used to making, not that there's anything wrong with that, but like for my sizing, like I think that is so size exclusive.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I mean, somebody actually commented on the post saying like, I'm not an extended size person myself, but I don't make patterns from brands that don't include a wider range of sizes, which I can completely respect. I just really wanted to make those jeans. That said, I've barely taken them off my body. I think because they are too big, they're so freaking comfortable.
That's legit.
So it's kind of both. It's like I've not taken them off my body, but I'm really disappointed as well.
Yeah, I remember that post now, even without checking, with all the details that you fit in. And I completely understand that feeling like you're making something, you have this vision, you're totally in the flow doing your changes, and then you're done and it's like, wait, those pockets are completely wrong. And that's something the pattern designer should have taken into account. Like, that's not your job.
Yeah, because it didn't look like the line drawing at all, like where the little pocket mouth at the front was, and then the gap between where that pocket mouth finished and the fly front was so vast.
I also wonder if that's a grading issue, because I've seen some patterns where the pockets do not change as the size of the jeans go up. And I don't understand that, because then it's going to be out of proportion for, the smaller or larger sizes.
Exactly. Sometimes you see that even with kids' things, and like the waistband and the cuffs and the neckband don't get deeper as the sizing grows, which is so weird, because like the proportions are going to be completely different between a 2-year-old and a 12-year-old, and it's got the same depth.
And then add on to that personal preference and how we just like to wear things, etc. But yeah, it always makes me a little bit mad when I'm like at the end, when something doesn't work out, I'm like, was it me or was it the pattern? And then I get really mad if I feel like it may be the pattern.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
I'll take
that
it if
was
it's me.
your job, Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I messaged the lovely Kate Roberts. I don't know if you remember Kate from previous episodes. She's a fit expert, was giving some amazing advice about, fitting yourself and stuff. So what I do is occasionally I'll be like, Kate!
Emergency.
Lots of people really sweetly added their suggestion, because I took some photos of the back so people could see the bum, see the drape and the weirdness going on. Because I do want to make it again. I do want to try again. But then it's like loads of people really, really sweetly offered a suggestion. But then it's like they can't all be right, because some are like, well, you need to scoop the crotch more. Some were like, well, you need to extend the crotch curve, but in the inside only. Some were like, you need to extend the depth at the hip. Some people were like, you need to do a flat seat adjustment. It's like, if I did all of those things, I don't think we're going to end up with something good.
Right.
It's going to end up like Meg's coat with the, added darts in the back, etc.
It's going to be odd.
It's
a mess. And some people like try that top down, center out method. It's like I don't feel quite ready for that. So Kate very sweetly made a couple of suggestions. So I think what I might do is literally go back to the drawing board, start with a size down, re-toile the whole thing. I know.
But just with basting stitches, just real quick.
Yeah. Also, like the seam allowance is only 1 centimetre on that pattern as well. So I think maybe make a deeper seam allowance so I've got more wiggle room for adjustments, possibly. Yes. So that was a whole thing, a whole journey. But when you're like, yes, it's going to be amazing. I love this denim. It's going to be incredible. Meg's like, no, I don't know what that means.
Shots fired.
Okay. So that's our disasters. I would like to know. Okay. Was there anything new you tried this year? I'd like to know that. Was there anything new you tried? Any kind of skills expansion or new silhouettes or new styles or anything that you kind of pushed yourself forward with this year?
I'm trying to think, like, sewing technique wise. I did a lot of zippers this year. I had done zippers before, but I did a lot. Like, first I was doing the pouches, like lots and lots of like zippered pouches for gifts. Then I did all these half zips. So I don't know.
It looks amazing. The one you're wearing right now looks incredible.
Thank you. I feel like it looks like something I would have bought, and that for me always is like the best part,
It really does. It looks like the evenness is incredible.
Yeah, I think I nailed zippers. I know that doesn't sound super exciting, but yeah,
really
I'm
cool.
like more like step by step, So nailed zippers.
Nailed zippers. What about you, Meg? Anything new?
I mean, I tried new patterns, which was great. I tried sewing baby things, which was a mixed bag. I think I'll just go back to knitting everything for babies. But yeah, I tried out the saguaro pants, like a full elastic waist drawstring linen pant. I don't know that I've ever sewn with linen. I've definitely done like linen blends, but damn, it's a game changer. Give me some more natural fibers. Like,
isn't it nice?
I was like, all of it, which is part
and
of the
it just
reason.
behaves. It behaves so nicely,
like water.
Yeah,
like flowing.
Presses really well.
So good. Yeah, which is part of the reason why I will not be doing lasso is standing next year.
Because you want more all the linen.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's got a hunger for linen.
It's true. I got a hunger for fabrics, for projects.
And I love that you're not going to say like, okay, I'm going to stock up on linen like between January and February, and because first of all, there wouldn't be any good linen in stores, and then you end up buying stuff. Again, like a squirrel, I gotta hoard the stuff because I might not get it later. And that like defeats the purpose of the whole thing. So go out and buy The linen when you need it in, sustainable amounts.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God, we're so mature.
So mature, so adult.
Very.
This year, I would say then that pair of jeans was a new thing for me. It was a different silhouette. Because normally I've made like skinny jeans and I've made like the Lander pants type, kind of fitted at the top, a wider leg. So that kind of balloon leg shape, kind of a bit more like, they weren't quite boyfriend jeans, but that kind of thing, that kind of silhouette. And I really liked it because I think what was putting me off before is I think what we were talking about proportions. Like I've started wearing more looser stuff at the top because of expanding belly. And also my style has changed as well. Like I used to be quite kind of rockabilly with my kind of looks. And so it was all very kind of fitted and 50s and stuff. And then as my body's changed and as my style has changed, I'm into the more looser tops, not necessarily baggy, and so I thought that the kind of more fitted trousers kind of balance that out nicely. And I think it does. So I think that's why I was kind of put off maybe going for that kind of more boyfriend look. But actually, I think it looks fine. I think with the things that I wear, actually, the proportions have looked good. So yes, I want to explore that more. And I know that Fabric Godmother have got some new denims coming in. So there's that little motivation.
So in that case, we're not getting you back to the last show standing anytime soon.
Shall we talk about that? Let's talk about our plans and our goals for 2025. So shall I start then with what I'm thinking with last show standing?
Go for it.
So I do want to join again. So you know that I didn't do it this year, but I did it before and I freaking loved it. I got so much out of it. I learned so much. And it really did change my relationship to acquiring resources. And I got my stash closer to the volume that I wanted to take up. Then this year, I trusted myself not to go wild. And I totally did. I totally have been, nice. I don't want to use words like good. I fulfilled my goal of not acquiring loads of fabric. Like I did get some pieces from the D-Stash from Palestine or via the D-Stash from Palestine account, because that is a cause that's very important to me. And also like it's pre-loved textiles. Mm-hmm. So like win-win. And I only got things that I could genuinely see myself using. And I did get some stuff from work, but things that I think I'm pretty sure that everything I got from work I used within a decent time frame. I think there's only maybe one piece upstairs that I got and I haven't used yet, but I know I'm going to use it soon. So yeah, so I think that was good. That said, I think I can do better. Like the volume is still a bit too much, especially because there was an incident recently.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to talk about it, but I don't know if all of us are ready to hear it.
Well, there's lessons. There's so many lessons to be learned. So...
Okay, everybody sit down.
Is everyone cozy? Okay, then I'll begin. So I kept all my fabric lengths in the airing cupboard in the bathroom because in our house there is very little storage. And yeah, there was some musty smells. Yeah, I was ignoring them. Yeah, it's fine. Until it wasn't fine. Mm. And I was showing a friend of mine that I think that there might be a leak in the shower or something. I don't know. So I was showing a friend of mine and he was like, what's that in the corner? I was like, oh, it's fungus. So fungus growing in the airing cupboard, not on the fabric. You'll be relieved.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
But
adjacent.
Very close, within 20 centimeters of fabric.
Oh, okay. That's way better than expected.
Not on the fabric, yeah, but a lot of it was very smelly. And it meant that I couldn't ignore the fact that it's not the best place.
Probably no ventilation either.
No ventilation. In a sense, it's been really good because it made me get everything out and have a really good sort out and be super honest about what I was going to use. And there was definitely a lot of like garments that I'd been keeping that I was going to reuse the fabric. And I had to be honest that that's been in there for over a decade and I've not used it. So a lot of it I have kept and I've washed it and yeah, it's being washed and line dried as and when the weather's okay. So some big bags went to the donation bin in the car parks, like they go to a charity.
Yeah.
And I hope that the things that they can't resell, which is most of it, would be shredded and recycled, but you don't know. So, yeah. But what it means is that now I don't have that space for storing my fabric. So the volume has to come down because it's just in bags in different parts of my house. And
you basically have to find a new home for the ones you still
there
want to
isn't a
keep.
home. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, so there's like, it's all
Man.
organized, it's washed, it's in bags, but it's like, it's just everywhere and it's visible. And so I need to get back on it. And almost everything has got a project planned, doesn't it all? So I need some more encouragement, which Last Soul Standing gave me, to actually do those plans. That said, Fabric Godmother has got this, I don't know if this will continue, but right now it's got this thing going on where those of us who work there that regularly make things, when there's a new range of fabrics coming out, we are allowed to take some fabric to make something to be photographed. So I don't feel I could say no to that all year. I mean, not all the ranges that come out are for me, for sure.
Right.
There's been loads recently that are florals that are just not my thing. But something like when the hands print, yes.
Absolutely.
The lunar denim with the things on, yes. And I know the nice soft plain denim's coming through, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I could put it to you, Lisa. Maybe I could join in independent to begin with.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds to me like, are you gifted this fabric or do you pay for it?
No, it's gifted, but I feel that's cheating to say, oh, well, I was given it because I ask for it, you know?
The rules, are strict, but they're not as strict as they could be. So from the beginning, like 4 years ago, because it's already old at this point, right? The rule was just like, do not buy any fabric. Like, do not spend money buying fabric. We didn't really evolve, go much into the bartering system and how we can like circumvent this, etc. But generally, gifts is allowed. Also, way at the beginning, we said businesses, like any business endeavors, are excluded from the challenge because I do not want to be responsible for any careers failing and businesses going under. So technically, this is very much allowed. Now, ethically, morally, if it doesn't feel right to you, that's a whole different ballpark. And to sort of make it easy for myself, but also participants, we still have the original categories of heavyweight, which means don't buy anything, and lightweight, which means buy no fabric, but otherwise you can buy stuff. We introduced the independent category, and there is just like, do your own thing. Set your own goals. Think about what you want to achieve, what feels right for you. Some people, Shams, for example, this year, she said, I'm not going to buy any garment fabric, but if I want to buy upholstery fabric because I'm still like moving into my house and making it my own, that is allowed because that wasn't the thing she was struggling with. That wasn't the problem area that she needed help with. So yeah, technically you are allowed as a full participant, but if you don't feel like it's right or aligning with your goals right now, make up your own. And yeah, maybe it's a bit of a cop out, but I do think then you have to really think about it.
What do you think, Meg?
I think you're fine. And I think you should take that fabric. It's a gift.
Yeah, but I'm asking for it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's come out of nowhere. It's landed on my doorstep. I've said, right, I would like 2 meters of that to make a top. You know?
It's for work. It's for your job. It's for your job.
Yeah, but it's not.
But is it? Because I would say that it's fine.
I mean, it's at my job.
Yeah. In order for you to have proper job satisfaction, you need to have that fabric. And it's gifted to you.
I also think a big thing is that it's not becoming part of your stash.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm definitely, because there's a deadline. Like I get it, and then within a couple of weeks it has to be photographed.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason a lot of us started, participating in the last Stoic Standing is because our fabric purchases, the way we were acquiring fabric was not sustainable anymore. And that's why it wasn't like, oh, you're allowed to buy secondhand fabric and just not new fabric. It was just like no fabric, because that was what was happening too much in many of our cases. We would buy more than we could use. If it was a problem in your life that you are asking for too much fabric at work, more than you can actually sew, again, that would be like a problem, like a habit that's not good, that you need to like have help, like, changing. And I don't think this is a bad habit you're having.
I guess I feel like I'm lucky in that I work for a fabric shop, and I still then will be allowed to scratch the itch of getting a brand new piece of virgin fabric and making what I want from it. And other people who are participating who don't work at a fabric shop wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
So
Do you
it
know
can
what I mean?
feel
So I don't think
unfair.
it's a level. Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels
it can feel unfair. But the thing is, you're not racing against others. You're sort of racing against yourself and your bad habits, because this challenge is inherently unfair. And the more go crazy buying fabric before you join, the better you're going to do,
That's a good point.
We all
That's a good
have
point.
like stashes of different sizes. Like anyone running against me, for example, is going to lose. I'm just going to tell you. No, not necessarily, because those of us who have a lot also, have the tendency of not being able to say no. So that's not a given either. But it's not a level playing field against each other. It's more, I see it as like it's a challenge against myself, and the whole like us racing against each other. It's just, part of the fun, and it just makes it more entertaining, the whole thing. But it's really you against your bad habits, sort of. Or you with your good habit, if you want to spin it more positively,
Yeah, it's getting towards your goal. Yeah.
So I think
Okay.
technically you're allowed in the main category, but give it some thought. You have time until mid-February of 2025. And then, I mean, we never did pledges like you do for Me Made May, but I do think a pledge before a very long challenge like this, or what was the winter mending one called?
Oh, Winter of Care and Repair.
So I think for the long challenges, it's worth thinking about what you want to get out of it. And even a little short one like Meg's. I mean, thinking about what you personally want to get out of it, and not just like what are the rules or what are others doing, but like, why am I doing it actually? So there's many valid responses.
I really enjoyed part of it though, and I'm really looking forward to being part of it again and feeling that nice kind of community.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I do feel like we're growing sort of like, I don't know, a Lastoist community of like alumni that have gone through it. It's like when you run a marathon with someone,
Yeah.
You're like,
I was there.
Brothers and sisters for life,
For sure. So, Lisa, you will be doing Lasso Standing again next year?
Yeah, I think I'll be doing it forever. Like, I don't see myself ever stopping it. We'll have to think about, like, what are we going to do after Instagram when that inadvertently fails? Like, how are we going to continue all this? Because, I'm already thinking of this, like, this is going to be a long-term thing. I still have a lot of fabric left.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was considering, like, do I want to participate again? Or do I just want to run it? Because I don't know. I need to knock on wood here and not jinx it, but I feel kind of cured. Really, I feel like I don't have, and not just for fabric, like it has gone over to other areas in my life. I cannot consume as I did before. And maybe there were other influences that I also would have gotten to this point without the challenge. But I think it all sort of goes together. And I just don't see it as much of a problem anymore. But I do enjoy it, and I still have plenty of fabric. So I'm definitely still participating as well next year.
So Meg, you're not participating next year, but you have got your beautiful new habits.
I've got some goals for next year because, like, you and I have chatted. We love goals.
Love goals.
I love goals.
Is it because we're water signs or something?
Maybe.
I don't know. Do you do the Enneagram thing? I don't understand that.
I don't do that. I don't understand that.
Might get into that. I feel like
Is that you?
Anyway.
So my goals for next year, I saw somebody on Threads was doing trying out one saved pin from Pinterest or one saved Instagram thing a week.
Oh, a week.
Like
wow.
a recipe or a
Okay.
technique or something. And I was like, oh,
That's cool.
I don't know about y'all, but I just save things. And I'm like, oh, someday. And I'm like, no, maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll do it. So that's a goal. I'm part of like the Gertie's Patreon. Gertie,
Oh, the
Mhm.
charm
yeah,
patterns?
Charm Pattern Company.
Yeah.
And so she just released for her one inner circle level, like 2 slopers with darts and with princess seams. And I was like, I'd really like to like slopers, get them,
Very cool.
get those
Cool.
settled.
I feel like that's an investment also
Yeah.
for your future sewing.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. But also like I can't do lasso ascending because I have so many fabric purchases that I'm gonna make like planned out already.
No, but they all sound really like as Lisa said, like they're considered and they are for specific things. It's not just like buying pretty thing.
I mean, some of them are pretty thing. Like let's be frank. But no, I do have 2 coats I'm planning to make next year, and I don't have coat linings and I don't have inner linings. That needs to be purchased. Like that needs to happen. And I also need like more linen pants. I need some navy linen. I wear a lot of navy. So
we
like
wear those all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
I mean, I basically already tallied it up. I mean, that is totally fine. I can approve all of that in or out of
Yeah.
the chat. Oh, but again, you have plans, lining, etc. For me, it doesn't count. I mean, of course it counts, but you know, you need certain materials to complete a project.
Yeah.
Lisa, did you accidentally start another challenge this year that we didn't talk about?
I did. It just keeps happening. I don't know.
Can't help it.
Yeah.
Tell us.
And as you connect more with other people in the sewing community, like the two of you, things just happen. You want to talk more and, you know, you have things you want to do together and all of a sudden you're running another challenge. So, yeah.
Slipped and fell and making another challenge.
I'm kind of regretting it hard now because, Bianca, who is Sleepless in Bavaria on Instagram, Bianca and I realized that really we should have something for yarn the way I have it for fabric. And there's another lady, I forget what her name is, Pink Jacinta or something Jacinta.
Mimosa, pink mimosa.
Right? I'm like thinking pink martini, but that's not it.
I think it's pink mimosa by Jacinta.
So she did or is doing the whole 30 yards challenge, and we thought we should do the same, but for yarn. So it's basically a little bit lasso standing, but it's also modeled after the 30 yards challenge. And we sort of extrapolated it and thought, how much would that be for knitting or crochet? We just kind of came up with the whole 10,000 yards number. I mean, I'm thinking we should have just gone like 10K, you know? That would have been a way shorter hashtag. But again, not a lot of thought and planning went into it, and we went with it. And lots of people, of course, were on board because they have a similar problem with yarn.
Shams is all over it.
Yes, and she is making socks like galore, and they're all like one is more amazing than the previous pair. So it's really done the same to the yarn, you know, as we've done with the fabric.
So is that a year thing, or does that just keep going because
it's also kind of a forever thing?
Right.
It's like whenever you reach the whole 10,000 yards, you're done. But also, it's sort of like it's a little bit more lenient than the lasso standing, as if you buy yarn, you just start over at the beginning.
Wow.
And this we mirrored from the 30 yards challenge. We
Can
just
you imagine
sort
how
of
disappointed you'd
copied that.
be with yourself if you got quite far?
But you know, disappointment, such a good teacher, right?
Meg, would you do that challenge?
I did. I actually started that challenge and then I immediately failed because I had to buy a bunch of yarn.
But if you're going to fail at the beginning.
Right? Well, the problem is
so
like,
clever.
I'm knitting for other people right now. So I'm knitting hats for other people as part of like a fundraiser. They donated $100 to get a hat. So like they get a special hat. I make it. I'm knitting a sweater for my sister. I'm knitting, you know, I'm always having something on the needles for Dan. So when I'm knitting for other people, I use the yarn that they want, not necessarily what's in my stash. So, and if you're knitting for babies, like you can't knit wool, like it's just not happening. It's got to be like a wool acrylic blended at best. So I had to buy a bunch of yarn. I was like, I don't have anything for all these projects for other people.
You should really make all those people just buy their own yarn or pay for it. No, but
Even
I
the
totally,
babies.
yeah, even the babies, just send them the invoice. No, but I agree. This is what kicked me out of the lasso standing last year, because I have my stash that's curated for my taste.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone wants something, and even if it's something quite basic, I'll often be like, I just do not have the thing for that.
That's what Louise Crafty Guider on Instagram, who's part of the Patreon community, been doing. Like when her daughters, I think they're in like their early teens, when they want something, they want her to make them something, they are now buying the fabric and she'll do the sewing, which I think works really well. And I think that's a good lesson in there as well. That like this doesn't come out of nowhere, like it's resources and So I
They
think
need
that's
to
cool.
be
That's
really invested. Like, no, I actually want this. I want to commit to this garment. Love
which
it.
I think is really nice. Difficult with babies.
Come on, baby. Which color?
Right. No, my one
like, give me a swatch.
Yeah, my one friend was like, I really want a bright color. And I was like, okay. Because normally people are like, I just want like navy or they won't tell me, and I'll be like, all right, well, I envision your baby in like a navy tweed grandpa sweater, which I made, and it's the cutest thing with little little buttons, little shank buttons. Oh, divine.
Aww.
But she was like, I want a bright color, and I was like, oh.
Interesting.
Okay.
I pictured your baby with a different vibe.
I know. I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. And then I was like going through yarns, and I was like, what do I want to make?
I love that, because a lot of baby wear in shops is very muted. There's a lot of kind of salmon-y, beige.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm really over like this beige. The beige. I feel like it's the curse of beige. It's everywhere. That's all people want to wear. That's all they want to put their babies in. And I'm like, no, like I'm not. No, what is this?
I want to lose my baby in the park and be able to spot it again.
Yeah, like y'all acting like you don't drink coffee and spill it on yourselves every day, like some of us. Like, what's going on here? Who's wearing these beige things and not getting them stained?
Yeah.
Like, and then it's not even heathered. It's like more like an ivory type of beige. Yeah. I was at a store recently with my kid, and I noticed a lot of blandness. She said she wants something colorful, and we looked around, and there was not a lot of color going on at all. I'm kind of loving the whole head to toe one sort of shade, because with my stash too, I tend to like buy my favorite color over and over and over in different like shades and saturation levels. And I'm like, you know what? I'm here for that, because it's already kind of happening.
Like a crayon.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. I did that at work twice this week. Was I dressed like a crayon? People were like, this is because I was wearing all burgundy, and people were like, oh,
nice.
And I was like, yeah, because I don't really wear black anymore. Because I gave that up for turning 40. I was like, I don't want to wear black anymore, so I just don't.
Love it. And
then I also have this really electric purple outfit that I wear, and we call it like my corporate Barney outfit, like Barney the dinosaur. And that's what I roll up in, and I'm like, corporate Barney. Let's go.
Awesome.
Reporting for business.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the head to toe look, but I can't do beige, but I do love it on other people, especially like an ivory, like, you know, sort of a lighter. I look at it from afar. Don't get too close with my grubby hands.
Don't touch them.
I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to mess you up.
No, I agree. But yeah, back to your, like yarn purchases. Are you back in, Megan, in the challenge? Are you doing it again, or that was it for you?
I mean, maybe, but God knows, as soon as I get right into it, there's going to be like 8 more babies. And I'm going to be like, well, it was nice while it lasted for 5 minutes.
Now, I think for all these challenges, like, you need to really be hurting for it to be necessary. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, nah, I can take it or leave it, we always welcome everyone. Yeah. But, like, then you maybe don't need it as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe some people have just got more of a bit of a FOMO vibe than a need.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be in it for a long time, because I've actually made minus progress. Like, you know, I've just unraveled so much that I'm like, less far ahead than I was when I started. So yeah, I'll be in it for a long haul. So join anytime.
You've you've also been doing some sew-alongs, Lisa, as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's also another thing that just kind of developed. I'm always like saying, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. So now for once I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So, sew-alongs, I've done some in the past, and I've done other social things also on Zoom, like virtual sewing happenings.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, everything just came together that basically, my friend Stacy, who organizes the Munich sewing retreat, she and I just wanted to make this thing. It was also a different half-sleeve sweater with a matching skirt. And we were both like changing bodies. Her, she's younger and has like different life changes. She's also going into a job. She needs clothes. Me with the changing body, I'm like, I basically just need stuff for the bottom half, like desperately.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, a skirt is going to be faster than pants and more forgiving. So yeah. So basically, we just wanted to make this, and we're like, okay, but now's the time. Let's make it official. Let's make it a sew-along. We've been talking about it for a while.
Let's get Canva out. Let's design a thing.
Yeah.
Let's just do it properly. But we just, did it right then and there with not a lot of announcement and run-up. I'm sorry if anyone wanted to participate, and then it was like, oh, it's over already. So going forward, we're planning to do more because it was such a success and we had so much fun, and we wanted to sew all the things forever as sew-alongs now. We basically don't want to sew alone anymore.
I love it.
Love that.
So we just have to get our schedules together, and we did a bit of a poll who wants to sew what of the people that already participated. And we think going forward, we're not going to do specific patterns. Instead, we'll say, for this one, we'll say we're doing a half zip. Maybe I'll do one pattern. Stacy will do another. And people will feel like they can join even if they're not doing that exact pattern, but just that type of garment,
Yeah. That'll be interesting as well, because then you can compare and contrast where there are differences. Say, for example, one of you's got cuffs, the other's got elasticated. I don't know, there could be some differences maybe in construction. You can learn from each other as well. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah, and I think also you can maybe back to the sewing wins or what we learned this year. One of the things I really think I learned is that I can tell now when I'm just reading through instructions and looking at a pattern, what do I want to do differently? So we ended up changing a lot of stuff with the construction, and sort of in the group, we would talk about it, but it's almost like a pattern testing group, except you're doing it on your own without the designer,
Yeah.
You're really reviewing this pattern too and getting into the bones of it.
Which is what you love.
I love it. So I loved that we were all doing the same pattern, but we thought also it would be, I don't know, also open things up a bit, make it a bit more inclusive. And I was worried about that. How is this compatible with the last Sew is Standing, that I'm doing a challenge that invites people to possibly buy a pattern and or fabric? People are going to want to take part maybe, and they'll feel like now I have to make a purchase. So I thought by opening it up on the pattern front, you could even join with a pattern you have, or maybe we can make suggestions for a free pattern that's similar or something. So yeah. Right now we're working on a schedule, and hopefully that will be out soon. And we're not going to do back-to-back projects. We'll take breaks in between. But yeah, and the overall goal is sort of to make different type of garments that you have sort of a capsule wardrobe and pieces that go with each other a little bit over time.
I love that. Nice. I think that you are, most of us do, but I think you are the kind of person that kind of thrives on a new idea and some more energy and mixing it up. And I think that's a really nice way to keep going with your goal of using your stash. But yeah, introducing this kind of community aspect and this extra motivation. And yeah, I think that's perfect for you.
It really pushed me to make it as well. Before I would say, oh, I'll make this garment over the next month, but then it would linger and I'd do something else or whatever. But now it's well, I got this group waiting for me. I better do it now, you know?
You've got that accountability.
I really get a kick out of connecting with the sewing community, but with a purpose. We're all there to sew something, etc.
Totally.
And also one of my inspirations was that you, Zoe, are doing these social meetups with Check Your Thread.
Or the mending meetups, yes. Because it was reminding me of that, that gives me the accountability to mend. I know twice a month, because I host both of them, but there's going to be that opportunity to mend. Like, it's happening. Like, I've earmarked that time, and I don't do hardly any mending outside of that time, but I know that is going to happen, you know.
Yeah, I only made it to one of those meetings. And that's another thing. If you can't make it to all the stuff that's happening online, host your own thing, because then you can do it on your own
Then you can
schedule.
schedule it when you're available.
But yeah,
Exactly.
I came to that meeting. I could have just sat and watched and, listened, talked, whatever. Nobody said I have to mend, but I was motivated to do it. And so, yeah.
Yeah, you did your duvet cover, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked on it, but I didn't finish it because I haven't come to another meeting since.
Zoe, what are your goals?
My goals are whittling down the stash, well, actually, which we can reframe as I'm actually making the plans that I already have in place. Yes, do last so standing in some form. Yes, participating in a winter of care and repair. Another thing I want to do is extract plastic out of my sewing more.
Yeah.
Nice.
So more of a conscious effort so this is another thing when it comes to the fabrics that come through work, when it is like 100% cotton denim, something that's like Ecovero or something that is traceable or at least biodegradable. More interested in that than like there's a lovely check coming through, but I know it's got some polyester in, so I'm not going to touch it. More investing in the tencel thread, the cotton thread. So yeah, less plastic in my stash, less stash. In terms of what I'm making, I think I'm doing a good job of making things that I will wear. Even there's been a couple of little inroads into different style changes. They've gone well. They're certainly not thinking things I rushed into. And yeah, so I'm happy. This year, in 2024, I've actually been, at the beginning of the month, I've kind of done a little visual collage of everything I've made the previous month. And that has been really interesting. That's not something I've done before. So I haven't actually, I have made quite a lot of things for myself, but not as many as you'd think. Like a lot of stuff for my kids, samples I've made for work, some stuff I've made for other people. So I'm pleased with that. I'm not creating loads of stuff for my wardrobe that's already stuffed to the gunnels. So that's what's going on. What potatoes are you going to eat next year?
All the potatoes. All the potatoes.
All of them, indiscriminate.
Yes. We just got my CSA box for the week, which is our community supported agriculture box. So like local farms. And there's purple potatoes.
Ooh.
Oh, what do you do with those?
We made mashed potatoes. They were purple. They were delicious. We put a ton of butter in there. So like, no judgment. Like they're
Makes
delicious.
everything better.
Is there anything else going in there, like garlic or anything?
Oh yeah, just like garlic and all the seasoning.
Oh, yeah.
Dan's a great cook. He's great. I make 3 dishes and that's it. He makes all the rest. So
love it.
Okay, Lisa.
Well, here raclette season is basically starting, which
tell us about that.
Yeah, it's not fondue, which is like the more well-known cheese dish, basically. So this is a different one. It's like a little flat oven, and you have little, I don't know, I guess like little individual pans where you can put slices of cheese in it, and you slide that into like a table oven kind of situation. And I think it's like, yeah, historically it used to be just like a dude up in the Alps with his block of cheese, but I think it became popular like in the 60s, 70s. And it must have been sold at like department stores in the US and everywhere. And like it became like a worldwide phenomenon. It's basically potatoes and cheese on it in its like plainest form.
Well, that sounds
and now there's like tabletop grill, like on top with like meat and veggies and all sorts of stuff, but it's really not necessary. And yeah.
Nice. So is this something you make at home? Is this something you have out and about?
Both. You can do it at a restaurant, but like most families here will have like a raclette oven for the table. And we actually just the other day brought it out from the basement. So it's officially raclette season here.
I love that.
I got to tell you, there are at all the street festivals, there's a raclette booth.
Nice.
Where they have like
all
the raclette things, and you're just like, oh my God, all this cheese.
I love it.
Me?
Yes. What about you, Zoe? What's potato season for you?
Well, coming towards the Christmas dinner, the roasted potato. Isn't it weird how in families there's some things that you do and some things that like your partner or another member of the family do? I don't do the roast potatoes. I'll do a lot of things, but I don't do the roast potato. So my husband is going to be doing the roast potatoes soon.
Perfect.
I see. I like doing a wedge. You know me. I like a wedge.
I do like a wedge.
I do like a wedge. I get the potatoes that are sold specifically for jacket potatoes, and chop them into wedges. Parboil them for maybe 10 minutes in some water. I feel you get them more crispy. Then they go in the oven in a lot of oil with sea salt.
Yes.
Lovely. Made me hungry right there.
I know. It's like,
I know.
I need
Delicious.
I haven't had lunch yet because I messed it up again.
Wait, you didn't have crisps for lunch? I felt like that was a tradition.
I didn't have any crisps. I did bring myself in case I got desperate. I brought myself in a cupcake that my kids made yesterday in case I got desperate.
You know, I respect this. Cupcake is a great lunch.
It's a backup food. Amazing. Is there anything else that we should have discussed that we've not discussed? Anything else that anyone wants to ask each other?
I wanted to mention something exciting. Well, amongst all the stuff I'm doing, this also came about sort of accidentally. So I don't know if you guys, if you have anything near you, Zoe, or if you've gone to any of these, like Meg, I know there's a ton in the US, but I don't know if you guys have been to one of these Frogtails events.
Oh, no, I haven't. There is one in London that's just been actually.
I've been wanting to go in forever. I've been looking at them like on all the continents. And I was like, there is none happening here, you know, on continental Europe. I've been thinking of going like to New York just for that. So now it looks like I accidentally got roped into and will be assisting in making the one in Munich happen. And that may happen as early as next spring, but we actually don't have the location nailed down yet, so we might push it back. So this isn't like an official announcement, more
It's a
like
soft launch.
exactly. And they just had one in Holland for the first one in the Netherlands, and I feel like it's slowly happening. Like there are more happening here. And then by complete coincidence, some other really nice and very talented, so is from Switzerland. She was talking to someone else about why isn't there one in Switzerland? Long story short, I'm now also on the organizational committee of doing the first Swiss Frogtails. But that will be a little bit later in the year, next year, or even the year after. We're still looking at venues and dates there. But it looks like we're going to do a lot of like sewing parties. Meg, it's a bit far for you, but you know, if you could time it with your London trip.
I know, right?
But yeah.
When is this?
So I just wanted to mention it. I'm really excited, and not just about these that I'm a part of. I saw one is going to happen in Milan, and I feel like that's also next year. And I feel like it's like time. There's more and more popping up everywhere, getting together with a bunch of sewists and, you know, going out. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't have enough chance to go out at all.
No.
So, yeah, I'm really excited about that. So I just wanted to share.
Fun.
So
I
great.
love how you kind of keep falling into things that you organize. There's a theme here.
I have to say, I think the limit has been reached. So I was thinking about, you know, things that I'm doing, etc. And that's when we're talking about goals for next year. My goal is like, don't start any new challenges or general social things. I feel like it's perfect, like what I'm doing now and the amount of things. But I'm loving all of them. And yeah, I basically made sewing my part-time job. And yeah, I love it. It's a nonprofit that I'm, you know, running here, but I really love it.
It's probably some funding for this.
So yeah, just wanted to share that while we're chatting.
Oh, exciting. Meg, have you ever been to a Frogtails?
This year was Chicago's first, and I bought a ticket, and then I got COVID, and so I did not go.
I remember that.
Damn it.
So that was
So
that was
sad.
a big disappointment.
Such bad timing.
So I was like, man. So next year.
But maybe next year. Yeah. What about you, Zoe? Have you gone to any of the ones in England or Scotland?
No, I haven't. There is one in London would be the closest for me. There was one in October. One, I didn't hear about it. Two, I don't think I would have gone just for like childcare reasons and having to get a hotel.
That's the thing. You'd have to travel, stay overnight, and make it a whole weekend. And it's
Yeah.
not always that easy to rock
Yeah. I
all
think they
that.
might be in my future.
Yeah.
Let's say that. Yes. Thank you so much, ladies. This has been so lovely. Let's do this again, online and in the flesh in the future.
Yeah. Would love to.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Zoe.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and are left feeling inspired. For more info about the podcast, including show notes for this and every episode, head to checkyourthread.com. I'd love to hear from you, so if you have any comments, questions or ideas for future episodes, please get in touch by emailing zoe@checkyourthread.com or find me on Instagram @checkyourthread. Massive thanks to Patrick Potter for production support, to Sylvia Seller for the awesome logo design, and to Simon at Palm Skin Productions for the music. This ad-free podcast would not be possible without listener support, so if you feel you are able, please consider signing up to the Check Your Thread Patreon. For the equivalent of buying me a coffee each month, you'll be making it possible to continue producing regular episodes. Links can be found in the show notes and on the website checkyourthread.com. I hope you'll listen again next week. Until then, take care. Bye!